For decades, we've had this idea that we could pretty much see who was trying to build a nuclear bomb. But what if that's about to change completely? What if they could just disappear? That's what we're digging into today. A really sobering new paper that shows how AI is kicking off this secret, invisible arms race. And I mean, the question at the heart of this paper is, well, it's pretty chilling. They're basically asking, could the whole era of detectable nuclear proliferation be ending? For so long, building a bomb was this huge, noisy, super visible process. You just couldn't hide it. But AI might be changing all the rules. So, to really get why this is such a massive deal, we gotta look at the old game. It's always been this cat and mouse chase, right? Between the proliferators trying to build bombs and the inspectors trying to stop them. It's basically a race for invisibility. Okay, so for more than 50 years, the IAE has been the world's nuclear watchdog, and their playbook has had to evolve big time. Back in the 70s, the non-proliferation treaties set the basic rules. But then, bam, 1991, the world gets this huge shock. Iraq has a massive, secret nuclear program that nobody saw coming. That forced everyone to create stronger inspection powers. A decade later, the AQCon network exposed this whole black market for bomb parts, showing we needed to track supply chains. You see the pattern here, right? The key takeaway is that the good guys have always been playing catch-up, just reacting to the last big scare. And that brings us right to the heart of this new tech race. It's a showdown between two forces. On one side, you've got Proliferation-Enabling Technologies, we'll call them PETs, and on the other, Detection-Enhancing Technologies, or DETs. So first up, let's talk about the PETs. These are basically the tools that help a country build a bomb and this is the crucial part, hide the fact that they're doing it. We're talking about things like super advanced 3D printing to make centrifuge parts, or powerful software to run simulations. But the real game changer, the most powerful pet on the block, it's definitely AI. Okay, so on the flip side, you've got the DETs. These are the tools for the detectives, the inspectors trying to find those secret programs. And what's really interesting is that AI can be a huge force for good here too. It can power satellite image analysis to spot a hidden facility from space, or chew through mountains of global trade data to flag a suspicious purchase. So you see, AI is this total double-edged sword in this fight. But, and this is the absolute core of the problem, these two sides are not moving at the same speed. Not even close. There's this fundamental mismatch, this asymmetry, that the paper calls the pacing problem. And this quote from the paper just nails it perfectly. The core problem. One side sprints, the other takes steps. So simple, right? Let's unpack what that really means for all of us. Okay, look at this. The PETs, the tech for building bombs in secret, they're the sprinter. Their progress is just relentless because it's driven by the commercial market. Just think about how fast AI models are improving for everything else. That's a smooth, super fast S-curve. You get an AI that's great at discovering new medicines, well, that same AI can also get really good at calculating the geometry for explosives. It's a side effect. Now, the DETs, the tech for finding bombs, they're the stair climber. They move in these slow, jerky steps. They're bogged down by bureaucracy, they're always underfunded, and they pretty much only get a big boost in capability after a disaster strikes. And that right there creates this incredibly dangerous widening gap between the two. So we have this gap, it's obviously a problem. But just how big of a problem are we talking about? Well, to figure that out, the researchers actually modeled a few different future scenarios to make this risk feel a lot more real. And to do that, they came up with something called the Relative Advantage Index, or RAI. Think of it like a scoreboard for this race. It's actually pretty simple. You just take the proliferator's advantage, let's call it P, and you subtract the detector's advantage, D. If the final score, the RAI, is positive, it means it's easier to hide a bomb than find it. The proliferators are winning. If it's negative, the detectors are winning. So they took this RAI score and applied it to 3 different possible futures, all based on how fast AI develops. First, you've got a limited AI future. Here, progress is kind of slow and steady, like how 3D printing has evolved. Then there's the disruptive AI future, where things move a lot faster, kind of like Moore's Law, with big breakthroughs every couple of years. And then you have the transformative AI future. This is where AI capabilities just explode, doubling at a crazy pace. All right, so let's get to the numbers. What did the models find? In that limited AI world, the baseline risk of a country pulling off a secret bomb program over a decade is 16%. Okay, that's our starting point. Now, what happens in the disruptive AI scenario, where things are moving faster? That risk jumps up to 23%. That's a pretty significant increase.
But check this out. In the transformative AI world, the exponential one, the risk of a secret program succeeding literally doubles to 33%. Think about that, a 1 in 3 chance. And believe it or not, the news actually gets worse from here.
Because there's this other factor they call opportunistic breakout. It's common sense, right? The easier it gets to hide a bomb program, the more countries are going to be tempted to give it a shot. And when you factor that in that transformative AI world, the total risk of at least one country getting the bomb in secret over 10 years, it skyrockets to a staggering 76%. Okay, so what on earth do we do about this? I mean, these models are basically showing us we're at a critical fork in the road. We have a choice to make. The first and maybe most obvious takeaway is that what we're doing now just isn't going to cut it. Our current reactive approach to finding these things is not enough. Period. We have to choose a new path. And the paper lays out 2 very different paths forward. Path number 1 is what they call a moonshot in detection. We're talking a massive, all-in, upfront investment to really get ahead of the curve. And look, this could work against the limited and maybe even the disruptive AI futures, but it fails completely against transformative AI. In that world, the sprinter is just way too fast for the stair climber to ever catch up. That's where path 2 comes in. This is about actually governing the technologies themselves, things like controls on the most powerful AI models, and maybe even more importantly, working to reduce the geopolitical demand for the bomb. Why do countries want one in the first place? Ultimately, what this all points to is a massive change in mindset. There's this one quote in the paper that just says it all. Monitoring bodies, they have to start operating less like these slow, lumbering bureaucracies and more like agile experimental startups. They have to be iterative. They have to innovate at the same speed as the very technology they're trying to keep a lid on. Look, if the ability to hide a nuclear weapons program really does outpace our ability to find it, then the entire system, all the norms and treaties that have kept us relatively safe for decades, it could all just crumble. The race is officially on. And the only question left is, how do we win it?